Alright, so we're going to go through and do your internet business final overview. So just like how we do all of them, there should be really no surprises for you as long as you go through and take your notes. There'll always be a few that I give you that you're going to want to go back in and maybe look through some of your video segments and get those down. But go ahead, feel free to print this out and have it with you. Pause, rewind, whatever you need to do. And so we're just going to go right through these. Beginning with the first one, what were the three main considerations given that were specific to an internet business? This was kind of just right in the beginning. We had the discussion about how many aspects of an internet business are very similar to a brick and mortar business, right? So I mean, accounting is not all that different. Customer service sometimes is not all that different. People are still going to call in, and you've got to handle and process item returns and different things like that. But there are some aspects that were completely different. So one of them was website design, right? There is no real correlation to that in a brick and mortar store, other than the fact that if one way that some people think about their website is if this was their store, and they would give it whatever kind of style and kind of feel that they would have done in a brick and mortar store. But website design is something unique. You don't do that in just a brick and mortar store. Internet marketing, right? So that's a whole very specific aspect of internet business that is different than traditional marketing, right? And then there's the concepts of e-loyalty, right? Trying to get individuals to return back to your website, right? And to be able to create consistent sales with individuals by following up with them. All right, so that's kind of the three things: website design, internet marketing, and e-loyalty. Number 2, what percentage of e-commerce sites have made $0 in their first 3 years? According to the research, it's 97%. All right. Number 3, in your own words, list and describe 4 of the 10 e-commerce mistakes given in class. All right, so that one I'm going to leave you to do on your own. You've got the videos there where we went through the various mistakes that people tend to make when they're setting up their e-commerce sites. So I don't care which 4 you do, but give a good description over those, right? Okay. Number 4. Internet business is dependent on traffic. Internet business is dependent on traffic. It doesn't matter how great of a site that you have. You could have the best site out there, and if nobody ever visits it, then you still have no business, right? So internet business is dependent on traffic. Number 5, explain the differences between an average site and a site with excellent navigation in respect to the percentage of users that will purchase. So if you remember, I gave you some statistics that talked about website design and who would purchase and that kind of stuff. So the basic idea behind this is that if you have an average site, the numbers say that you can expect 0.7% of users to purchase. 0.7, so not even 1%. 0.7 of 1%, right? So 0.7% of users will purchase. But with an excellent navigation kind of process in your website, that number can jump up to 1 to 4%. So the basic idea is that if you don't put much thought into the ease with which your customers go from the front page to the checkout page, you can see a very significant drop in the number of people who purchase. But for websites that have a very smooth navigation, where it's very easy and intuitive to get from your front page to your checkout page, they often see an increase up to 1 to 4% of people who visit their site end up actually purchasing, which is very significant. Number 6, define back-end marketing. Give some specific examples and explain in your own words some of the advantages it affords an e-commerce site. Okay, so I've broken this up into 3 parts, this question. I want a definition of back-end marketing. So basically, back-end marketing are any of the marketing techniques that you do to reach someone who was already one of your customers, right? So that's what back-end means. They've already purchased from you, and now you're trying to maintain contact with a previous customer, right? So front-end marketing is your marketing to people who have not purchased from you, right? So that's just general marketing. You're trying to get in new customers. But once you have them as a customer, the marketing that you do to them at that point is called back-end marketing. Some specific examples. I would say, 1 or 2 things here that you could do, so will be sufficient for the answer. But I'll give you one. Just to get you thinking. Follow-up emails, right? That's the very simple one, and I'll let you think up one other. But follow-up emails. So you've already got them as a customer. Maybe every 2 months you send them a follow-up email that has some sales in it or something to that effect, right? Okay, and then the third part of the question are the advantages. What are the advantages of back-end marketing? I'll give you one of them, right? And you can write this, and if you've got something else that you want to build on, that's fine. But what they say is that 35% of customers will buy from you again if you offer them a product as an incentive to come back, right? So in your back-end marketing, if you offer them some kind of sale, some kind of product, some kind of buy one get one free, research shows that about 35% of your previous customers can be enticed to come back and purchase from you again. So that's a significant advantage of back-end marketing, right? Because you're not going to get 35% of people that you market to on the front end, right? You put up, a billboard, you do a direct mailer, you do social media sites. You're not going to get anywhere near 35% of those people to want to come back in and buy something from you. But if you offer some kind of a product, some kind of an incentive for previous customers to come back, there's a very high percentage of them do. So that's a big advantage of back-end marketing, right? And there's some others if you want to think through some others. All right. Number 7, explain personalization software. What I'm looking for here is this is the software that it actually can help you with back-end marketing. That whenever, say, if somebody's purchased something from you in the past, personalization software can create a customized email for that customer that gives product recommendations that are personalized to them, right? So it's a software that creates product suggestions that is specific to the customer that you're sending the email to, right? All right, number 8, why is it a good idea to try and avoid Flash on your web pages? Because it's such a large file size that it really slows down the speed that a page can upload and come onto someone's computer. So if you put all these fancy things like Flash or video or things like that on your first page, then when people click on your website, it takes a long time for it to load, and you end up losing a lot of people. Number 9, list 2 advantages of getting customers to follow you on social media sites. So one of them is that it increases exposure, because if your customers, so this is your customers, right? They've already purchased from you, and you're trying to get them, since, okay, maybe they're a happy customer now, to go ahead and like your page on Facebook. So maybe a follow-up email or something like that. A lot of places now will send you an email with some kind of a discount if you will go on to their Facebook page and like it. Right, 10% off coupon that they'll email you if you go on to the Facebook page and like it, or something like that, to get them to like you on the social media sites. The advantage is that all of a sudden now you have some exposure to whoever all of their friends were. So it's an instant increase of exposure, right? And then the other thing is that if they are friends with you, like say on Facebook, then that creates a very easy way for you to do back-end marketing, right? that you can send out a Facebook update or something like that, and all of your previous customers who liked you will be in line to get that update. So it allows you to increase exposure because you're exposed to all of their friends, and it allows you to keep in contact very easily with previous customers, right? Okay, number 10. What must be done, that should say to all images, before they are placed into your website template? What must be done to all images before they are placed into your website template? They need to be compressed in some way. If the pictures that you place into your website template are just regular pictures straight off your camera, they're going to be a file size that can potentially slow down the website quite a bit, right? So you want to use some kind of a compression, get the size of the file smaller so that computers don't have a hard time uploading it. And don't use your computer as an example, right? Because chances are your computer's somewhere in the middle, right? You may not have a brand new computer, state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line thing that's out right now, but you probably don't have the worst of the worst either, right? And so just because your computer is able to pull it up quickly, don't assume that all of your customers are getting the same experience, because there's a lot of people out there that have older systems, right? That will have a hard time. So always compress that stuff. Don't just say, well, it pulled up fine on my computer, so it must be fine, because that may not be the case, right? All right, number 11. Give 2 rules regarding the text that were given during class. So this is talking about the text on your website, right? So there were a few. I just want you to give me 2. So one of them was, focus very specifically on your headings, right? And then another one was, be careful about cursive, right? Be careful about font that's too wordy, right? You don't want to have too much text on your pages to where it wears people down, and it looks very, all text and no pictures, or all text and no style, so to speak. You don't want that. So you want to have text that's clear, it's easy to read. You don't want it to be so creative that it can't be read easily, particularly in your headings, because your people will scan through, right? So in any of those types of things you can put in there. Number 12. What can be a problem of creating a website that is too unique, right? So this kind of goes along with number 11 a little bit, but if you try and do something too creative and so out of the box that it's different than what people are used to, every once in a while you hit on gold, but more often than not, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up confusing a lot of people, right? You'll get a lot of people that come to your page, and it's so creative and so unique, but it's not obvious to them what they need to do to make the purchase. And so they may just kind of skip right over your page, right? So particularly in e-commerce, most people aren't looking to be wowed by your creativity. I mean, it should look nice, it should look professional, but by and large what they're really looking for is a smooth transaction, right? They want to have all the information up front, they want to be able to see it, they want to be able to purchase it easily, right? So creativity seems very good in theory, but a lot of times with just basic e-commerce, sometimes a more straightforward approach is good, that you can be so creative and so unique that you actually make your website confusing. Right? Number 13, in the context of website navigation, what does it mean to become your customer? So I want you to write something to the effect that while you're creating your website and in the first few weeks of having it up and running, you want to be going back in and troubleshooting your own website, which means you need to practice buying some things from yourself, right? Where does the email come to? Where does the information come to when you purchase something? Have you got all that worked out to where you're not like losing sales, like somebody buys something from you and you didn't even know it because you weren't sure about the process of where the email goes to? That's the notification that you sold something, right? Or is there some confusing steps with your e-commerce software that you weren't aware of because you never tried to purchase something? Were there glitches in your website that you never found because you never went through it yourself? So approach your website from the customer's vantage point to troubleshoot it there from the beginning and make sure that it's as smooth as you think it is. Alright, number 14. What can be displayed to help engender trust in your website, right? So you're trying to create trust in your website. Couple of things you could put: certifications that you have. You can put any qualifications, any of that kind of stuff that you have. You could put logos of companies whose products you sell, right? Who are well known, right? All right. Number 15. What is an emotional driver? So an emotional driver is something that you specifically put into your website, whether it's style, pictures, text, specifically the words of the text, specific verbs or adjectives that are thrown in there that have emotional content to them, right? So it's different to say, we spent a lot of time on this car, versus saying you're about to experience quality incarnate or something, whatever, quality bar none, something, some type of catchy thing. You're about to immerse yourself in quality, or however you say it. But it's all about getting style and emotion into the fabric of your website, right? So you want it there, but you don't want it overdone, and so you pick words that are specifically chosen because they connect on an emotional level. So that's an emotional driver, is something integrated into your website that is designed to connect with someone at an emotional level. Number 16, what role does data acquisition play in e-loyalty? Right, so e-loyalty is getting people to return, right, back to your website. So if you're not collecting their data, right, like contact information, right, is the most important form of data to collect off the bat. Website, phone number, something, address, somehow. Website really is probably the main one you want to focus on, so that you can keep in contact with them down the road. E-loyalty often is not something that the customer initiates. It's something that the company initiates towards the customer. So you've got a customer that's purchased from you once, and then down the road you're initiating with them by sending them emails and other forms of contact, so that they will purchase from you again. And so after they've purchased from you 2 or 3 times, now you've kind of become their go-to website whenever they need whatever it is that you do. Right, and you have created a form of e-loyalty with them. But data acquisition is a central piece to it, because if you can't contact them multiple times down the road, you're going to have a hard time establishing that relationship. Okay, and then number 17, list and describe 3 of the marketing strategies listed in class. Right, so I've given you some different marketing things in the videos, from social media. We talked about a whole bunch of different marketing strategies, right? So we went through several videos on how to drive traffic back to your website. So what I'd like you to do is go through and find 3 of the ones that we talked about in class and kind of list and describe them, right? So you have to go back in to the marketing 1 and 2. Probably, you can look a little bit at marketing 1, where we dealt with things you can put into your page itself, right? So you might want to look at that a little bit. But then also in marketing, the second marketing video, I went through an entire list of things that you could do. So what I want is 3 of them, and I want you to give me a nice solid description and explanation of what those are. Okay? Alright, so you should be able to do this. You just got the 2 questions that you need to go back in and search for the answers for, and other than that you should be fine. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.